Standard 9th, Chapter 6, Tissues. From the last chapter, we recall that all living organisms are made up of cells. In unicellular organism, a single cell performs all basic functions. For example, in amoeba, a single cell carries out movement, intake of food, gaseous exchange and excretion. But in multicellular organism, please underline all this, there are millions of cells. Most of the cells are specialized to carry out the specific functions. Each specialized function is taken up by different groups of cells. Since these cells carry out only a particular function, they do it very efficiently. In human beings, muscle cells contract and relax to cause movement. Nerve cells carry messages. Blood flows to transport oxygen, food, hormones, and waste material, and so on. In plants, vascular tissues conduct food, underline, and water from one part of the plant to other parts. So, multicellular organisms show division of layer. Blood, phloem, and muscles all are examples of tissues. Cells specializing in one function are often grouped together in the body. This means that a particular function is carried out by a cluster of cells at a definite place in the body. This cluster of cells, underline, is called tissues, is arranged and designed as to give the highest possible efficiency of function. A group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to achieve a particular function forms a tissue. Now 6.1, are plants and animal made of same type of tissues? There are noticeable differences between two. Plants and are stationary or fixed. They don't move. Since they have to be upright, they have a large quantity of supportive tissue. The supportive tissue generally has dead cells. Animals, on the other hand, move around in search of food, mates, and shelter. They consume more energy as compared to plants. Most of the tissues they contain are living. Another difference between animal and plant is in the pattern of growth. The growth in plant is limited to certain regions, while this is not in animals. There are some tissues in plants that divide throughout their life. These tissues are localized in certain regions. Based on the dividing capacity of the tissues, various plant tissues can be classified as growing or meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. The structural organization of organs and organ system is far more specialized and localized in complex animals than even in very complex plants. These two major groups of organisms, particularly in the different feeding methods. It is with reference to this complex animals and plant bodies that we will now talk about the concept of tissues in some detail. Now we go to plant tissues. First one is meristematic tissue. So the activity which is shown, so try to perform. The growth of plant occurs only in certain specific regions. This is because the dividing tissue, also known as meristematic tissue, is located only at this point. Depending on the region where they are present, meristematic tissues are classified as apical, lateral, intercalary. You can see the diagram. Apical meristem is present at the growing tips of stems and roots and increases the length of the stem and the root. The girth of the stem or root increases due to lateral meristem. Intercalary meristem seen in some plant is located near the node. You can see the diagram. Cells of meristematic tissues are very active. They have dense cytoplasm, thin cellulose wall, and prominent nuclei. Next point is permanent tissues. You can see the activity, see the figure. They take up a specific role and lose the ability to divide. As a result, they form a permanent tissues. Next, we have simple permanent tissues. A few layers of cells beneath the epidermis are generally simple permanent tissues. Parenchyma is the most common simple permanent tissue. It consists of relatively unspecified specialized cells with thin cell walls. They are living cells. They are usually loosely arranged. Thus, large spaces between cells, intercellular spaces, are found in these tissues. This tissue generally stores food. In some situations, it contains chlorophyll and performs photosynthesis, and then it is called chlorenchyma. In aquatic plants, large L cavities are present in parenchyma to help them to float. Such a parenchyma type is called erenchyma. It allows bending of various parts of plants like tendrils and stems of climbers without breaking. It also provides mechanical support, that is a collenchyma. There is very little intercellular space. Now you can see the figure, various types of simple tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, transverse section, longitudinal section. Next we have guard cells and epidermal cells, lateral view, surface view. Yet another type of permanent tissue is sclerenchyma. So what is the function of sclerenchyma? It is a tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. Please underline. We have seen the husk of a coconut. It is made up of sclerenchymatous tissue. The cells of these tissues are dead. They are long and narrow and walls are thickened due to lignin. This tissue is present in stems around vascular bundles, in the veins of leaves and in hard covering of seeds and nuts. It provides strength to the plant parts. What you observe is the outermost layer of cells called epidermis. The epidermis is usually made up of single layer of cells. In some plants living in very dry habitats, the epidermis may be thicker since protection against water loss is critical. The entire surface of the plant has an outer covering epidermis. It protects all the parts of the plant. Epidermal cells on the aerial parts of the plants often secrete a waxy water resistant layer on the outer surface. This aids in protection against loss of water, mechanical injury and invasion by parasitic fungi. Since it has a protective role to play, cells of the epidermal tissues form a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Most epidermal cells are relatively flat. Often their outer and side walls are thicker than the inner wall. Now we can observe small pores here, there in the epidermis of the leaf. These pores are called stomata. Figure 6.5 we can see. Stomata are enclosed by two kidney shaped cells called guard cells. See the figure, guard cells. They are necessary for exchanging gases with the atmosphere. Transpiration also takes place through stomata. So you can see the function of stomata. Now we go to the next part of the lesson. Gas is required for photosynthesis. Which gas? Epidermal cells of the roots, whose functions is water absorption, commonly bear long hair-like parts which greatly increase the total absorbed surface area. In some plants like desert plants, epidermis has a thick waxy coating of cutin, chemical substance with waterproof quality. As plants grow older, the outer protective tissue undergoes certain changes. A strip of secondary meristem located in the cortex form layers of cells which constitute the cork. Cells of cork are dead and compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. See the figure. Next we have complex permanent tissue. The different types of tissue we have discussed until now are all made up of single cells. Such tissues are called simple permanent tissues. Yet another type of permanent tissue is complex tissue. Underline, complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. All these cells coordinate to perform a common function. Xylem and phloem are examples of such complex tissues. They are both conducting tissues and constitute a vascular bundle. Vascular tissues is distinctive feature of the complex plants. Okay, now we will see in the next video.